the one and only debate scheduled between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris is on Tuesday. It'll be in Philadelphia. David Muir, Lindsay Davis, they will moderate the debate for ABC. Now, keep in mind, this is a network that detests Donald Trump. We have shown you that over and over again. It is the same network whose CEO, Bob Iger, Disney, calls a notorious ex-Clinton aide, George Stephanopoulos, an unbiased journalist. Really? Well, Mr. Iger, and I say this respectfully, here's a reminder of your journalist, George Stephanopoulos, from his days as a devout Clinton Democratic staffer. Take a look.
What is names, address? I can send you a fax with names, addresses, phone numbers of who you had an affair with. It wouldn't make it true. It is completely. If you went on the radio and said that Bill Clinton is the father of an illegitimate black child, you would be laughed at. People would think you're crazy. I guarantee you that if you do this, you'll never work in Democratic politics again.
Wow, that sounds kind of like a threat. Very same George Stephanopoulos, now touted as one of ABC's most trusted news anchors, when in reality, like so many in the media, he's nothing more than a radical, left-wing, Democratic talk show host. So should we really hold out any hope that ABC will at least try and be fair? Well, outgoing ABC Disney CEO Bob Iger, what kind of reputation do you want to leave behind? Will your network, are you going to be fair? Are you going to really show journalism? Are you going to be neutral? Or will the reputation of ABC News, under the banner of Disney, live up to their reputation of, or forever be tarnished with, extreme left-wing media bias? I would assume, Bob Iger, that you want conservatives to patronize Disney theme parks and Disney products. And here's the problem we have. Iger's heir apparent is apparently a huge Biden supporter. And keep in mind, approximately 0 Trump supporters are currently employed by the channel. So maybe with the exception of Reince Priebus. So let's make it easy. I want to help out ABC and give them a little bit of perspective and research. So here we are, Kamala Harris, nearly 50 days as the candidate, and she has changed dramatically ever since becoming the presumptive nominee. Let's start with something very basic, very simple. The beloved plastic straw, which just changed her position in the last 24 hours. Take a look.
We need to understand that leaders have to lead. Leaders have to lead, and
plastic
we can
straws
adapt.
are a big thing right now.
Yeah.
Do you ban plastic straws?
I think we should. Yes.
Well, now a Harris campaign aide is telling Axios that Kamala no longer supports banning your plastic straws. But we have yet to hear directly from Kamala on the subject. In fact, we haven't heard a word from Kamala about almost any of her flipping or flopping, and the list is quite long. Electric vehicle mandates, she's the one that supported him in 2019. Banning fracking, she said it many times. Banning offshore drilling, she said that many times. Supporting a mandatory gun buyback program, I think we'd call that confiscation. Does she still support that or not? Decriminalizing illegal immigration and offering free housing and health care and education, legal driver's licenses in Minnesota from her running mate, as well as free college education. You know, does she support the border wall? She mocked Donald Trump for the border wall and said he thinks that a bunch of terrorists are going to be invading the country. Well, that's exactly what has happened. We now have unvetted Harris-Biden illegal immigrants with known terror ties in the country, but we don't know where they are and they won't tell us. Does she still want to eliminate ICE or not? Does she still want reparations or not? Does she still support defund, dismantle, no bail laws, reimagining the police or not? Does she still support the bill that she sponsored in the Senate, Medicare for all? $93 trillion. Well, Medicare for all, that would be universal health care. She sponsored the bill with Bernie Sanders, and it would eliminate all private health insurance. That is a basic question. Will ABC ask it? The $93 trillion Green New Deal, that would eliminate capitalism as we know it. She co-sponsored that bill in the U.S. Senate. You know, federal job guarantees and federally guaranteed healthy food and health care and daycare and child care and pre-care and I mean, the list goes on and on. Take a look.
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
Assault weapons that are already in circulation. What do you do about those?
Well, there are approximately 5 million, to your point, Craig. We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program.
If someone crosses over the border, it's illegally, it is illegal, and you would decriminalize it.
I would not make it a crime punishable by jail. It should be a civil enforcement issue, but not a criminal enforcement issue. His quest to build a vanity project called The Wall. This is irresponsible. It's the height of irresponsibility.
Should black people get reparations?
I think there has to be some form of reparations, and we can discuss what that is. But as President of the United States, I am prepared to get rid of the filibuster to pass a Green New Deal.
You support the Medicare for All bill, I think initially co-sponsored by Senator Bernie Sanders. You're also a co-sponsor on it. I believe it will totally eliminate private insurance. So for people out there who like their insurance, they don't get to keep it?
Well, listen, the idea is that everyone gets access to medical care. And you don't have to go through the process of going through an insurance company, having them give you approval, going through the paperwork, all of the delay that may require. Who of us has not had that situation where you got to wait for approval and the doctor says, well, I don't know if your insurance company is going to cover this? Let's eliminate all of that. Let's move on.
Anonymous campaign aides now say Kamala suddenly no longer believes any of that. Now, we saw a very different story during Kamala's one and only interview of the election, a whopping 16 minutes and 30 seconds, 29 to be exact. And she emphasized that her values have not changed. And she said it over and over again. So does Harris still want to abandon the filibuster to pass the $93 trillion Green New Deal? Will she decriminalize illegal immigration and give free housing, health care, education, and a path to citizenship, amnesty, or not? Does she stand by her tweet supporting a bail fund for the rioters and insurrectionists in the summer of 2020 or not? Does she stand by saying the rioters won't stop, shouldn't stop, and we won't stop? Or not? Does she still support Medicare for all, the elimination of all private health care, or not? Is she still proud of Bidenomics? We call it Bidenomics, and we're proud of it. She supported it or not? Does she still support defund, reimagine ICE and the police, or not? Does she still want Americans to have the courage to never say radical Islamic terrorism or illegal alien again, or not? Does she still want to tax unrealized capital gains and give Americans the largest tax increase, not only in American history, but world history, or not? Does anyone believe she's changed her position on fracking or offshore drilling? Because she lied to CNN, and even CNN fact-checked it. And here's a good indicator of her true beliefs, of radicalism. And she just hired a far-left preacher who openly preaches against individualism, a.k.a. capitalism, and even allegedly described America as a cult and a bloodthirsty imperial beast. They just hired this person. So are Kamala's campaign aides, are they willing to lie and hide and go into the witness protection program to win an election? And will Bob Iger's ABC Disney allow them to get a pass next week? What does Harris really believe? What are her real policies? You know, there is still nothing listed in terms of policy on her campaign website. Her stump speeches are long-winded, feel-good platitudes about freedom and joy that are meaningless, and attacks on Donald Trump delivered from a prompter, the same words in every speech, in a variety of fake accents, depending on the crowd. Kamala wants to be elected president, but she won't tell anybody what she really believes on anything. Is that really okay with the so-called journalists at Bob Iger, ABC, Disney, and their, quote, news department? Democracy dies in darkness, right? Even fake news CNN is baffled by some of Kamala's nebulous positions. Take a look.
There's really no greater symbol of Trump's presidency than the wall and the way that Democrats were attacking him over the wall and his restrictive immigration policies. So we looked in that ad, and if you look at it, that exact area of wall is in Sasabe, Arizona, and that is a portion of wall that was actually built by Donald Trump. It was built in an area where there was not previous wall. It was actually pretty controversial when they were building it at the time. So just to see that, and then there are other.
She's using his wall that he built to say, look at what I did.
By the way, at the DNC, I was there. Wasn't liked by many, but I was there. Guess what? They had walls all over the place, preventing people from getting in. And then you needed credentials, picture ID. I had to show it 4 times to get to the studio where I needed a broadcast from. So Kamala Harris is now taking credit for a border wall built by Donald Trump after trashing and mocking that same border wall dozens of times, and now wants you all to believe she has always been in favor of a border wall. This is insane. So the question is, ABC News Disney, are they truly going to bring up these fundamental, basic questions that America needs to know? Kamala Harris has played a massive role in the border crisis. In fact, she played a major role in all of the Biden-Harris administrations. There are many failures on the economy. Their failure in Afghanistan. According to Kamala, she's always the last person in the room, you know, when these major policies and these decisions are being made, like 13 service members dying because of the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, the so-called Inflation Reduction Act, which was a massive, actually a massive environmental spending bill, and a bill that actually empowered the IRS to go after service workers and their tips. That caused inflation to go up. Don't take my word for it. Here's Joe Biden this week saying the quiet part out loud.
I'm proud to announce that my investments, through my investments, the most significant climate change law ever, and by the way, it is a $369 billion bill. It's called the, we should have named it what it was, but at any rate.
Kamala Harris cast a tie-breaking vote in the Senate to pass this phony Inflation Reduction Act. Make no mistake, she owns inflation and America's struggling economy and every crime committed by every illegal immigrant in this country. Just last month, job growth fell short of expectations yet again. Just over 140,000 new jobs created. By the way, more jobs, over 4.4 million now created for illegal immigrants. And get this, these jobs filled by foreign-born workers, in the country, and Americans are losing jobs. And by the way, ABC, Disney, they need to be very clear about one issue. Prices are not coming down. Inflation continues to rise. Prices are up well over 20% under Biden and Harris. Gas prices up well over $1 a gallon. No end in sight. Americans are suffering every time they go to the grocery store, every time they fill up their gas tank, they pay their electric bill. So is Kamala Harris. She says on day one, I'm going to deal with inflation and immigration. Day one was January 20th, 2021. Not 2025. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.